Hello everyone, welcome to our presentation for Urbanism 4th, in which we will be talking about the analysis of the United Kingdom's Barbican state. Our group is made up of Juan Jacobo Niño, Natalia Lara, Santiago Melo Herrera, Nayarit Nava, Jenny Villalobos, Sofía Delgado, and María Ángel Barón. Let's get started.
Architect Paul and Bon and Chamberlain, year 1963 to 1964, location London, England, structure Niger Europe, design in 1955 to 1959, year of construction 1963 to 1964, land area 160,000 square meters.
So, in the relationship and context with heights, we have that the Barbican is located in the center of the city. It also has capacity for many people, access to main roads, and equipment availability. And the households are around 3 tower blocks, and they are surrounded by cultural centers. And in the density, we can see that we have 3 types, that is the high density, the half density, and the low density, as you can see in the picture. We will now discuss the occupancy of this project on the block. First of all, for this analysis, the knowledge plan is used to note the physical delimitation of the project in terms of its surroundings. What does this mean? Basically, as you can see in the image, the full plots are represented in black, showing the plots where there are physical constructions. On the other hand, the empty ones are represented in white, which represent places where the spaces of the plots are open. They are green areas, public areas, among others. From this physical delimitation, we can see that the Barbican itself has about 5 balloons that stand out as physical constructions, since most of its design has soft and green areas, which makes it a contrast to the rest of the buildings around it and highlights more the empty than the full. Also, from this analysis, we can see the different geometry that is created from how the buildings are located around the block. For example, in the case of the Barbican, its constructions stand out for having a rectangular shape, forming inverted L letters arranged in space. Similarly, we can see that in the area there are oval, semicircular, or similar constructions that give more space to public areas. This helps us to deduce the constructive density, which could be said to be low but high in terms of the building's height.
Point 4. Typological variations. In this segment, we can find 5 different typologies scattered around the project. The first typology is U-form. We can find it around the building Frobisher Crescent. This project was made for only housing and commerce. The second typology is pyramidal typology. It is represented and used in the Barbican theater. The third typology is rectangular typology. We can find it in the main building of the City of London School for Girls. The fourth typology is quadrangular typology, present in the Speed House complex, building made only by housing. The fifth and low typology is vertical typology. It is represented by the towers Blake Tower, Lowther Tower, and Shakespeare Tower, buildings made only for housing.
The Barbican is really rich in urban elements. We can find a variety of them between lakeside terrace, gardens, interior streets, and places, and it's necessary to check one by one to understand. Interior streets. They are the internal circulation within the Barbican, being open spaces that connect the different areas and building of the Barbican, making the circulation on the places comfortable. Gardens. They are strategically placed, creating a pocket of green spaces in the brutalist architecture, disconnecting the person from the street, creating a natural spaces inside the city. Parks. The park of the Barbican is associated with the elementary school in the place. It is strategically placed in the corner, creating an important place to students without interrupting the normal use of the Barbican. Courtyard. Those are very interesting in the Barbican because even though the place is not the public street anymore, it is not a wall breaking the car street with the building. It is an space that provides a good environment in the limitations of the Barbican. They are the subtle disconnection of the building with the city. Places. Those are permanent spaces in the area, providing various informal sitting areas in the Barbican. Lakeside Terrace is the most successful public spaces areas. They are elevated outdoor spaces that are integrated into the building design. They are positioned on a different levels throughout the complex and offer visitors an unique experience of combining greenery and urban architecture.
Interior-exterior relationship and accessibility. Internal-external relationship strategies. Open plan. Throughout open plans, the interior and exterior are connected, generating collaboration between spaces, eliminating internal walls as much as possible, placing columns or other vertical elements, giving rise to the arrangement and relationship of various environments, and connection between spaces. Terrace podium. By means of terraces, podiums, and other elements of height change where several buildings of the project are located, spaces are crossed at the time of circulation, producing a relationship between spaces and their elements present here. Regarding the colors of the image, red indicates that it's lower than the other visible heights. If the color is lighter, it means that the height increases. Orange being higher than red, and yellow being the highest. Parks and gardens. In the project, there are green areas, parks, and gardens that link the buildings with this space, creating a public-private relationship and, therefore, interior and exterior. Relation and segregation. The shapes of the buildings guide certain spaces, which tend to be entered into the project, withdrawing a bit from the city, being an interior-exterior change at the project level with respect to the immediate environment. Pedestrian access to the site. In the project, there are 5 pedestrian accesses that can be seen on the project map. The first is the Golden Lane access given by a ramp located on the platform of Golden Street. The second is White Cross Street, also with a ramp located on this street next to a vehicular access. The third is in the Beach Gardens through the podium. The fourth is a set of perimeter entrances to the Barbican Center, and finally access to the expressway through the stairs on the second level next to Silk Street. Vehicular access to the site. In the project, there are 6 vehicular accesses that can be seen on this project map. The first is the Silk Street entrance, being access to the Barbican Center, giving a parking lot. The second is the entrance to the Guildhall School of Music and Drama. The third is the access to the Beach Gardens located next to the podium. The fourth is the Aldersgate Street entrance in the middle of a building and a playing field. The fifth is the entrance next to one of the Churchill Towers, the Blake Tower. The sixth is the entrance next to the pedestrian access ramp on White Cross Street.
We already talked about the living places that the Barbican has. Now we are going to see their complementary uses. First of all, the Barbican has a beautiful lake surrounded by big green zones, while it makes amazing parklands that give us magnificent views. Also, these zones are connected to the most characteristic places of this housing complex, like the church, that is in pink, 2 schools, City of London Girls, but also the Guildhall School of Music and Drama, that are in purple, 3 halls, that are in brown, a male, that is in gray, and the famous Barbican Center, in red. The center gives to the person who is there many activities to do. In first place, we have the Frobisher Crescent, a mix between trade and housing. In front of it appears an incredible outdoor concert hall Following our tour, we find the Brutalist Art Gallery, beside a little library, Brutalist 2. After that, you can see a beautiful theater that is the top of a greenhouse, located next to the Winhall School of Music and Drama.
8. Architectural language and materiality. And by last, we've got the section of architectural language and materiality. In the section of architectural language, the project counts with a strong inspiration of a military structure from the mid-age called Barbican. It is also the origin of the project name. Here we can identify the perimeter of the structure, a clear limit from the exterior, but counting with access. By the other hand, it also counts with high volumes. Its function has changed along the time if we compare with the project nowadays. This will be the total volume of the project. It counts with more horizontal dimensions than with vertical dimensions. Here it can be seen some of the volumes of great height, in contrast with some of the next volumes, which are the least prominent, but the most common along the project. The union of these volumes generates a barrier that from the exterior limits the access of any point, guiding the pedestrians to the access of the project. Now we will pass to the material section. The Barbican state is a great exponent of the brutalist trend. This amplifies the use of concrete not only as an ornamental structure, but also as an aesthetic identity, leaving it exposed to the eye, in companionship with other materials like brick. Here are some examples following.
In the conclusions, we realize that the Barbican is a perfect example of how to implement housing to the city, creating public and green spaces, as well as using different typologies in the same project without looking weird or invasive. This project will serve as inspiration for our design projects. That's all. Thank you.